All right, my mind was still wrapping around that subject of that which is taboo. So I started really thinking about it. What had sparked some of this in my mind? What got me to think about it in the first place? Oh, that was kind of nice. Maybe maybe just take a load off. Be that guy. Oh no. What is this mysterious garbage? Is there some vagabond about? Just when I was going to suddenly relax and enjoy myself, the goddamn vagabonds ruin it. No, so let's see, actually. Yeah, there we go. Oh, look at you, squirrel. Squirrel's posting up like, do you see? I am chilling. Yeah, let's see if I can get him. There we go. Look at him. Dude, you're famous, bro. You're famous. Like he's enjoying his Christmas feast. He's like, sucker, I ain't going nowhere. I'm eating, fool. Got my eat on. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for even like disturbing him any more than this. Now he's facing me, turned right to me, he's just eating. This is adorable. It's such a cute squirrel. I just can't believe this. Let me see if I can get him again. Let's see. Like looking right at me. Oh, you dropped it, dude. It's like, what? Where'd it go? Where the hell did it go? Damn it. I just had food. Okay, now I'm gonna go, bro. Okay, it's my turn. Probably thinking like, do you got food? Do you got yummies? You got a yummy thing to eat? That must be pretty much what runs through like various animals' minds is that delicious? Can I eat it? You know, like, I don't know. Anyway, so I was thinking about verboten and taboo subjects. One of the key ones I started to think about was the taboo subject of white supremacy, and really, who is, you get so much of the Northwest getting upset about this, right? Who are these people? Like, oh, well, because they're hippies. But then I think about it, I'm like, oh, wait a second, there's one of you who used to live here. People don't know. Like, everyone's like, oh, you know, like Kevin Samuels was hearing these black women say manifesting, right? Now, if you were to suddenly be like talking about manifesting and you're obviously a white avatar on like Twitter, right? You would probably have all these black women clapping back at you about manifest as a hard word, blah, 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 blah. When it's not. It's not at all. No, it came out of the area of this end of another one, dude. Check it out. Another. Just chilling. Like just cold chilling and getting their morning munch on. And along I come to disturb the squirrel's world. It's a squirrel's world. This is almost like as if there's like some kind of natural ritual of these things eating in front of a tree. And there it goes. It's like, no, come on, don't ruin it, bro. And so the people who've been around like really hippie people know this. So people then who, because of being around a place like San Francisco, then encountering people who were in like the arts, thespians and stuff, but were way older, knowing then from later stuff about Rosicrucians, the most modern groups of the Rosicrucians, especially stuff like Amorc, why they end up in Hollywood and are popular among actors. And so this is why even the advertisements for Amorc are typically people who are actors. So Mozart and the Philosopher's Stone, the lost work of Mozart. And so you could actually find, I posted in Discord the thing about the Masonic relationship between Salieri and Mozart. And there's a third person, I believe his name starts with an H. I'd have to look. He was the third. He was the three parts, the three corners of the triangle in their alchemical sort of work. That was their ideas. They were making a great opus that was based around alchemy. And the Philosopher's Stone, the Magic Flute was the first part. Philosopher's Stone was the second, and there's going to be a third part. I'm not even sure if maybe there really is still known to be a third part that exists, and it's another lost work that, I don't know. All I know is about that second one. So this idea of that the arts community, since the Enlightenment, Christianity, especially in the Protestant world, took what was started in the Catholic world as an embracing of the ancient pagan stuff that like the Muslims had preserved from the Greek libraries and Roman libraries, translated into Arabic, and then they were being bought, because they were ransomed a lot of times, because they wouldn't survive in the Islamic world. They would be seen as blasphemous or heretical or heterodox. So in the Catholic world, you start getting these the people who start positing much more elaborate ideas, almost universally at some point tapping into the traditions of various schools of Kabbalah, and that then carries into the Enlightenment and to the anti-Catholic thing of Europe, and is key to the Enlightenment, to American thinking, and to a lot of Protestant theological history, is this way that it ties into ideas that were introduced really by conversos and people who are interested in Kabbalah. Which, I mean, it to me it is what it is. As long as you know what it is, then let the theological debate begin. And there's people who make an argument for the way that the language in even Syriac Aramaic is structured, that there's certain ideas that are obviously linked, that you have to know something about Kabbalah to really understand certain theological terminology in Assyrian Aramaic. Now, and that's the church, ancient Church of the East. That's their theological language is Aramaic. So these sort of not really secret societies, but I mean these quasi-secret societies that would then, in the 20s and 30s, introduce a new generation of what are now artists in the modern period. So this really means they're no longer doing arts and crafts. Now there is very modern technology. Now the methods by which people can do things are really well recorded, are getting well recorded. There's typesetting that is much more universal than at any time. It's the universal standards are starting to happen in measurements of a wide variety of tools, making then artists' work and people in the arts, especially the mass production of artwork of any type, much easier. So that greatly changes everything, and that's where like my grandfather comes in. Is my grandfather would have been somebody who saw the arts and crafts period. He's born in 06. He would have seen the end of the arts and crafts period, and he would have been a first generation of the modern artist. And so that's why he was in the field of what was called design. And so that you actually coordinated a bunch of work that then becomes like a presentation of stuff for mass consumption, for people to mass consume it. And that's the thing about the modern artist, is that it was mass consumable art rather than arts and crafts that took tremendous amount of time and very highly skilled handiwork that took often generations to pass the secret on. Like there would be techniques that you had to know that. You had to have somebody tell you this and show you that. The, um, so how do you then deal with this? What then obviously would have happened when many artists would have seen a period that the greats, there was suddenly an opportunity for all the arts to be purchased, for to be consumed. But now you no longer had the quantity of masters to teach all of the many people who would be in that field of art producing some form of consumable product fundamentally. So it gets into then what do you do to fill that in? So people who are artists started looking for a lot of some kind of wellspring of inspiration. And when it becomes that they are in a field that they have to produce, they actually have to make stuff, consumable material, that's hard. I don't know how to do that. I just use this phone, I just react to people. I'm not really that creative. And so I have to respect that about people who they want to make it as a professional artist. That's hard. And it's very rare that people can make it as a professional artist. But technology, once mastered, you can, and there's all sorts of people who do. So this idea, like, where you get, that's why once you know how popular some of these spiritual groups that at one time they would sort of, they kind of market themselves as secret societies. Now, if you knew this went back to, like, especially like there's real popular 1920s through the 1950s specifically. 1950s being understood as what's called, for say, like the fraternity of, the Freemasonic fraternity, the Golden Age, because everybody, all the fellows were joining some kind of fraternal group along those lines. Morning, Merry Christmas, hey puppers, and so there were also lots of sororital organizations that were a huge deal for making the suburbs possible by having some kind of web of women who had been at least through high school, if not, because college wasn't odd. The collegiate education was not odd in even the 1920s. We pretend it was now, but it wasn't that odd. And so that was also a thing that you would have these organizations they would have a community group for long after college, that these women would be able to network and do things because it was talent. 20% doing 80% of Pareto's distribution of talent in society. And the inspiration for these groups would be often the lore and legend of the group itself. It would have its own kind of pretense. Sometimes people might even dress up in outfits. The Odd Fellows used to have actual robes and whole outfits they would wear. Anybody who's acquainted with Freemasonic ritual knows that through the eras, like, the elaborate levels of rites were incredible. When, say, if you have the ritual papers of Weishaupt lodges, really elaborate decorations, elaborated on how things, what kind of coats and things you'd wear. So it gains its own thing to it. Look good for the rest of the cult members, dress to impress the rest of the cult, So one of the things I was thinking about was thespians as well. And these thespians that must influence culture, how they see themselves as the generators of culture. That was a very interesting thing that Rosie O'Donnell and all of them said in opposing Trump, and how that obviously rang true with a lot of liberals, that they don't have an association with anything really in the culture outside of celebrity, and that the celebrities are the culture to a great extent in the way that they really feel about it. Yeah. Yeah. It's my mind rolling the taboo thing around. So we hold sacred this idea of people having their little organizations. And we think it's even kind of cool if you had like a secret group that could accomplish what you want, or we even, mystify, the shadow government and the deep state and stuff like that. And but what I find interesting is how with Christianity, because of the very concept of because God knows your secrets, secrets are somewhat ridiculous. They become much more akin to a lie. Why are you keeping secrets from people? Because God knows, and that's all who it really matters. So why are, it doesn't, yeah. So secrecy and being a part of some secret society, one of the things in the early constitutions of the apostles, this comes up, that you're not supposed to be in some kind of secret society. This also comes up among writings of the early church fathers and saints, that you're not supposed to. And the reason why is because that would have been normal in religions, pagan religions. Everything that liberals are about is normal. What is that which is conservative, that which is, we think of as sort of America, typical America, with its women oppressed and blah blah. This was a very unique thing. No, it's normal for people to be pagan and licentious and vulgar, and not really think of the future. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, that hill's blanketed in cloud. So let's see. Oh, there we go. There it is. You guys saw me up on top of there before. Oh, I was going to climb that. That was what originally I was going to climb. I was going to go up there. I was like, for real deal Holyfield. That was my thing. This guy convinced me. He's like, you should go up to Hendricks Park. And in a way, I'm kind of like, oh, but in a way, I'm kind of like, ooh, all right. That was, I would not have been able to, yeah. And just, I'm feeling this walk enough that I'm like, okay, no, that would have been I would have had to take this day off, done it on Sunday. That's, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got an idea then. Always thinking. Content. All right. I'm feeling pretty silly this morning. I have some cold coffee and eggnog. Creamy nog, I call it. Anyway, so, but yeah. You end up getting this society that starts to sort of epitomize, with the fight against communism, starts to epitomize this sort of specific culture that now is being identified with white supremacy. And they're saying that is what is white supremacy. So something I started to really have to think about was, so what they're really talking about is when the culture has that hippies are into the low secret society of the Wiccan coven. That's the peasant version of Freemasonry, is Wicca. It's the ghetto version. It's the trailer park version of Freemasonry, is Wicca. And because when you encounter enough of them, you start to realize like how, that you will encounter now and then truly highly literate, highly skilled, highly educated white people who are into some form of ritual magic. But most people like that don't have time for that shit. So white supremacy is having your currency so strong that you have spare time when you're a professional. When you're at the professional class, you could be involved in something like your Golden Dawn rituals. That quote unquote is white supremacy. When your state is that strong that people can kind of burn their time on something like that, on wild-eyed spiritual stuff like that. But then I think about it, people now do all sorts of yoga as couples, and people do all kinds of stuff as couples seeking some form of inspiration to live on every day. So if a lot of people don't really understand, like, these are the people who believe in the power of crystals. These are the people, that you would hold crystals and you would meditate on them. Like a lot of them. These are people who they are nurses. They are becoming nurses. They are going into biology. They're into hippie dippo shit. They're allergic to all sorts of shit. That's a really weird one. How much the left and liberals, progressives, Democrats are allergic to things. To the point, really to the point where it's crazy. Like, I'll do anything to not engage a white liberal in a discussion about food, because they're foodies who are allergic to everything. It is so strange and is so normal. It's like it's so normal. You're just like, why? How did this happen? How did I run into this conversation? This is one of the reasons why dating must be really hard for a lot of young men. Is, oh, I'm allergic to that. Here's now story after story. Now that you're anchored to this table at this date to hear about all the things I can't eat. Imagine what it's going to be like to have offspring with me. You should breed with me. I can't eat anything. And strong sense, which means specifically random things that you will like, such as your cologne. That your favorite cologne's the one that I'm most allergic to. Who would have thunk it? That the scent, at some point, there will be a scent that will drive me crazy. I'll go on about it, because I'm really, strong scents really I'm very chemically sensitive. I can't eat anything. You know what? I need another crystal. Maybe if I meditate on this crystal, I'll be able to eat cheese. And these people, they riot. Fuck you and your police. There's a dude who totally came up with that that's in the Northwest with people, the junkies, and just hella people. They come up to you, and it's just like, and you just think that what is going to come out of their face is just, and it's, dude, and you see, yeah. Anyway, so the hippie dip people have evolved into now this subculture of like white rap music, wearing fractal clothes, looking like a paint store exploded on them, and all kinds of now a part of it, I'm like, this is a legitimate culture. This is totally legit. this is this legitimate part of, but they don't really quite get, like, if what they think is that there's white supremacy and they would associate it with somebody like Nick Fuentes, who happens to have a suit on, that he's even admitted that he's like, sometimes it's so hot in here, he's sitting in basketball shorts with the suit top on, like, I mean, and his hair's cut, he's shaved his beard, and has a mustache that is trimmed. So, or what you're saying is, white people who accomplish things and make it look good, that's supremacy, so really accomplishment, promptness, and so then there's the list of that was made. These are all associated with white supremacy. So it really is kind of like, to be really a good person is to be kind of white trash. And then obviously, because they would be writing this as people seeing white supremacy as a negative and not doing it, that they're like, and we from the trailer too, son, and or we don't show, yeah, we'll do anything to shirk, like, and we'll do anything to shirk as well, like, what, let's just fucking shirk, all of us, and shrug it off, people. Just shrug off all of society. Stop paying rent. And that they associate this with ethnic minorities. That there's something wild and untamed and free, and that the only ethnic minorities that understand this are people who don't show up to work on time, aren't very well kempt, maybe don't pay their rent, like that they're the ones who are free from white supremacy. I mean, like, the more I think about, like, how, because then you can't think about, that's hella crazy. All of that is crazy as hell. And you can't think about that because then you start to think they're trying to be cogent, sane, and make rational arguments. And it's like, no, they think rocks have healing powers. And this is something coming out of especially something like Chinese medicine and stuff, where you find needles that ain't old, big, thick, I mean, like, these are bone needles, and that you'll find jade needles and things, these curiosities in places, massage items that are made of various precious or semi-precious stones. But they're and that they're supposed to have a certain type of relationship to chi or this, that, and the other. So geomancy really is kind of the idea, but not like we think of it. Not as kookball, not as savage, like savage taboo level, like where there's no rationality applied to it at all, and more, yeah. And the idea, I'm vaccinated, you're not, so my vaccine suddenly won't work. That is very savage, taboo, bone through the nose kind of thinking. That's like really an understanding of how things work that is bone through the nose savage. And so, and that's why they have bones through their nose. They do. They've adopted that. So, and and all that. So it's, yeah, that's the thing I've been thinking about since that section on Taboo that Bree Folt wrote. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody, and yeah, it was a great walk this morning. Talk to you soon.